The law never revealed the heart of God. The law reveals the claims of God. But grace reveals the goodness and the grace of God. Amen. The law, the essence of the law is demand. The essence of grace is supply. Now sometimes we are not under Mosaic law or the Ten Commandments in our hearts and minds. In other words, we are not sensing any legalism, but we are putting upon ourselves a sense of burden, like there's all these demands on me, there's all these demands in the ministry, there's all these demands in the church, there's all these demands from my children, demands. In essence, you are under law because you are placing yourself under a demand mentality instead of a supply mentality. Grace is supply. So even as I stand down here, I don't feel the demand because I'm seeing the supply. And sometimes the supply flows in such a way I get so good, I want to take notes on myself. And I know the teacher has taken over because I'm not that smart. But I'm constantly conscious of supply. When I think of next month I'm supposed to be here, or next year I'm supposed to be here, or this coming week I have to accomplish this, I don't think of demand because the essence of law is demand. The essence of grace is supply. I'm supply conscious. God will supply me what I don't have. Amen. God has supplied, He is supplying, and He will supply. Amen. The first miracle of Moses was turning water into blood, resulting in death. The first miracle of grace was turning water into wine, resulting in life and celebration. The law demands righteousness from bankrupt men. Grace provides righteousness for men. If you look up here, pastors and leaders, at 2 Corinthians 3, the Bible tells us God has made us able ministers, or in the New King James, sufficient of ourselves. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything is coming from ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God. God has made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant. I want to say this. The sufficiency of God, the supply of God is for us pastors and leaders to become ministers of the new covenant, not the old. There is no supply, there is no grace, there's no blessing when you try to... Now, I want to say something about the old covenant. I teach, about 60% of my teaching is from the Old Testament. I teach a lot of Hebrew. I teach a lot of types. But what the Old Testament is all about is a picture book of Jesus Christ. So you bring Jesus out of the shadows. Now, I don't go back to the law. But I teach, approximately 60% of my teaching is from the Old Testament. But the Bible tells us that we are ministers of the new covenant. We can preach from the Old Testament, but make sure as a minister of the new covenant, you bring Jesus out of it. You can teach, bless God, what is your Isaac today? All of us have an Isaac close to our hearts. God knows the Isaac in your heart. God is saying to you, put your Isaac on the altar. Now, there is a place maybe for that kind of preaching, but that's not the primary reason for that story. That story is about God telling Abraham, take up your son, your only son. Wait a minute, he has another son called Ishmael. But in God's eyes, God does recognize nothing born of the flesh. So take your son, your only son, the son that you love, and offer him on one of the mountains. Because one day God will send his son, his only son, the son that he loved, and offer him on the same range of mountains. When Isaac went up the mountain with the wood on the back, what does that tell you? That's Jesus right there. When you teach it like that, man, I'm telling you, people fall in love with God because they see God's love for them. At the end, God says, hold your hand, ape. Now I know you love me because you have not withheld your son, your only son, the son that you love. So that we can say to God today, now I know you love me because you have not withheld your son, your only son, the son that you love. So Jesus comes out of it and we have an Emmaus Road experience of burning hearts. And people are transformed by beholding Jesus.